Hello and welcome to our session number 2 of this special 5-day, gathering, I guess, that I'm doing with all of you who I consider my friends and followers and supporters, and I really appreciate it. The last night's session number 1, is already up in my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is under my name, Gustavo Tolosa, or it's also under Plantemus, plant, Plantemus, either way. So you can watch it there. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do it. It doesn't cost anything, and click on the little notification bell, and make sure that you always read the description area below the video, because I am always putting some bonus material there. So make sure you do that. And one more announcement: if you have not received, if you're watching this but you haven't received my email from last night with the replay link, or any other email from yesterday or today, well, today I didn't send anything, not yet. Make sure that you look at your spam folder. Also, if you have Gmail, for example, look at the promotions folder or in the trash, because sometimes these emails, I'm not going to sit down and send 500 emails. So they go out in bulk. And sometimes when that happens, the email system considers them spam or unwanted, and they may end up somewhere else. So make sure you look there. Okay, so let's see. Let's talk about a few important basic things here, and then I'll focus on a specific topic. These are just reminders. Remember that we, as whole food, plant-based followers, starch-centered, followers, I try to stay away from the word vegan, because more and more I see how many vegans are unhealthy and overweight, and they eat very poorly. So I'm starting to stay away from the term vegan, and I prefer whole food. That's the key: whole food, plant-based. So if you are whole food, plant-based, you remember that we need to take B12. Okay, that's the only supplement that Dr. McDougall recommends, and under very unusual circumstances, he recommends vitamin D. That's a topic that is for other sessions, and there are differences, so don't expect all doctors to agree on this. But at least all doctors that I have talked to and interviewed agree that we need to take vitamin B12. This is what I take. You don't have to take this particular one, but I'm showing you how this is liquid, and it's kind of reddish, and it tastes really good. So I have to be careful not to just drink the whole bottle, because it tastes like a strawberry or blueberry. It just tastes great. It's B12. It's 5,000 international units, which is way more than we need. But you can't find five, let's say, or even 50. It's not made. So, and so far, according to Dr. McDougall, vitamin B12 has not shown to be toxic. So, and remember that we don't absorb all that we take. So if you take 5,000 international units, you're not going to absorb every one of the 5,000. So that's important. And if you take a pill, then that decreases even more. How often? Well, Dr. McDougall says that he takes it when he remembers, okay? But I try to take it about 3 times a week or so. I don't take it every day. And sometimes it's been 1 time a week, but remember that that's important. Okay, and please feel free to type questions, and later on you can unmute and ask questions. Okay, let me let other people in here. Okay, another topic that I want to briefly mention is be careful when reading labels, and we should be reading labels. First of all, we shouldn't be buying a lot of products that are plastic or whatever, or any kind of package, because that's usually highly all the fiber and water is taken out. It's highly processed. But even things like almond milk or any kind of plant milk, read the label, because you will be surprised to see how much sodium and even oil some of these things have. So read the labels. Most packaged products, even the healthy ones, can contain huge amounts of sodium, and we only need about 1/8 of a teaspoon. So I want you to see what that means. This is 1/8 of a teaspoon. It's very little. That's supposedly, I say supposedly because if we eat a varied diet with a lot of different vegetables and fruits and legumes and everything else, the amount of sodium that our body needs, it's already in the food, so you don't have to add any. But just tell me who in the regular, in the world out there eating a regular diet, what we call a SAD, standard American diet, is going to be using 1/8 of a teaspoon. Nobody. Actually, it's more like tablespoons, and it's not complicated. It's not difficult to use 3 or 4 tablespoons of salt per day for some people, especially if you're using canned products and packaged products and things like that. So be careful, because in our 7-day program that I do, the Detox and ReSET program, we don't use salt for that week. And every time I get the comment of how much liquid you eliminate, and if you were bloated, that goes away because of all that sodium retaining water, and of course that makes the blood pressure go up, and other things that get out of balance. So be careful, please be careful. Even with spices, even with regular spices, read them, because you will be surprised at how much sodium they have. You all know how I love Benson's Table Tasty, because to me it's one of the best salt substitutes, and this is perfectly compliant. I'm not connected to them, so I don't get any kind of financial benefit from this, but I want you to know that this really is amazing, how it gives that taste of salt without salt. It has celery, it has other dried vegetables and spices that make it really delicious. I agree with Dr. McDougall, really. None of us should be cooking with salt, because then it gets diluted. The taste gets diluted. The sodium stays in the food. So if you cook with salt and then when you serve it, you put more salt, it's double salt. I also agree with Dr. McDougall that yes, excessive salt and sodium is evil, is bad, it's not good for our health. What he says is that most of the sodium that regular eaters eat comes from processed foods. They have done studies with this. So the amount of salt that people put on, salt table is very minimal compared to the salt that they consume without knowing. For example, also some breads have more salt than potato chips, but you cannot tell by taste because the salt has been cooked and diluted in the bread mixture. As in a potato chip, the salt is on the surface, it hits your tongue, and then it feels like it has more salt. But you might want to even, don't believe me, go to the internet and type how much sodium does a slice of bread have and how much sodium, I don't know, do a comparison, maybe do it in ounces. You will see that in many cases, unless you buy bread with no salt, bread has more salt than potato chips. That is really an interesting fact. Okay, so I want to mention salt because that is one of the things we focus on when we do our 7-day detox and reset program. Okay, I want to show you what I made for lunch so that you can see what it is like in my regular day and eating. So let me show you here. Well, I will tell you that, for breakfast, I had oats and I put a sweet potato in the oats when it was cooking, and then I put half of a banana. But here is, okay, let me share this so you can see what I made. So for lunch, I chopped 1 large onion, 4 large garlic cloves, about 2, maybe 3 cups of chopped mushrooms, and I had like half of a red bell pepper that I just threw in there. And I saute that in my wonderful non-stick pan, which of course, if we're going to eat this way, we must have very good non-stick cookware. So when it was kind of brown, I, of course, have to add greens because you know how Dr. Esselstyn focuses on greens for our arteries and our heart health. And that is another thing that we learn how to do in our program that many of you who are here have attended and will attend soon. So here is the kale. This kale is from my own garden, and it is, so I added that to the pan, and I added even more than that. So the pan was overflowing. It was chopped, not small like you can see, but it was chopped. It will look like it is so much, but after cooking for a while, look how it cooks down, okay? And now that little orange thing you see on top is turmeric. I love turmeric. It was like 1/4 teaspoon. You don't need much. And then I put some black pepper to even activate the turmeric more. Turmeric is a very powerful anti-inflammatory. I try to put it in everything that I can. And then I had put some spices. I put some smoked paprika. I put some garlic, onion powder and garlic powder, simple things like that. And it's usually a tablespoon of smoked paprika and then a teaspoon of the other things. But you learn how to do that. And at the same time, in my Instant Pot, I put 1 cup of chickpeas, and I had about 2 cups of tomato sauce from another day. And then I added about 3 more cups of water. And I had a little bit of Swiss chard that I also threw in there. And then spices, again, pretty easy: turmeric, smoked paprika, oregano, thyme, onion powder, garlic powder. And I cooked that to my liking. It was about 25 minutes on the Instant Pot. And the chickpeas were soft, but they weren't super soft. When I want to make hummus, then I cook the chickpeas for 35 minutes or so that they can be very soft. Okay, another thing I want to show you is how important it is to drink water. And in my 7-day program, we always start our day with a glass of water. It's very important that when you get up after a night of sleeping, most of us get to some level of dehydration, and it is important to start the day with water. And so I ask you to drink water. Then during the day, I'm not concerned with how many glasses of water you have. Hopefully you'll have 2, 3, maybe even 4. But remember that if you eat a whole food, plant-based diet, you will be eating or you will be drinking your water. Look at this. Look at this. Everything here has 90 or above percentage of water. That water actually counts as water. Of course, if you cook something and you bake it and a lot of the water evaporates, well, then it's gone. But if it's raw or if it's steamed or lightly sauteed, then the water stays. So look at that. Pretty much everything that we eat is water and fiber. And that's, of course, what we want for the detoxifying part of the program. And to get all the benefits of detox and all the benefits of resetting our taste buds so that we can get rid of those cravings. Okay, and so here is the Benson Stable Tasty. If you haven't tried it, I highly recommend that you try it. You can buy it online. I mean, I think I bought mine on Amazon, but I'm sure it's available in other places. And another thing that I have for salt substitute and to enhance the flavor of food, I have all of those 4 always in my cabinet. The Mrs. Dash salt-free mixtures. I love all of them. The original blend, the table blend. I mean, the onion and herb is great. They're all great. So I just wanted to show you that you do have a lot of options when it comes to not using salt. Okay, so we'll stop that. And so the topic for today really was, can I eat all the bread and pasta I want? Because in the Starch Solution and in the healthiest diet on the planet, Dr. McDougall says, go ahead and eat bread and pasta and pizza. So can I do that and still lose weight? Well, okay. The answer, unfortunately, is yes and no. There isn't a total yes or a total no. Why do I say that? Because when I started my journey and I was 70 or close to 70 pounds overweight, I mean, I think I don't remember, but I think I was in the obese category. I had so much weight to lose that just taking out all the meat, all the dairy, the oil, cheese, of course, cheese is dairy. Just taking that out and eating some bread, I knew because I had attended the 10-day program, I knew that I wasn't going to be eating bread and pasta and pizza every single day for every meal. But I was able to lose, like I said yesterday, I was able to lose easily 50 pounds. Now, what would have happened if I had to lose, if I wanted to lose 10 pounds or 5 pounds or 15 pounds? Well, I don't think it would have been that fast or that easy. So that's why I'm saying that it's not a definite yes or no, because it depends where you are. So as I mentioned last night, at one point in my journey, I came to a plateau or what Dr. Lyle said, an equilibrium. And I had to start trying other things. And that was taking out almost entirely, and then entirely, the bread and the pasta. And I noticed that I was able to continue losing weight. So it really depends. How would depend on what other things would depend whether you can eat all the bread and pasta you want? Well, if you're one of those people who need to gain weight from time to time, I have people that I coach or that attend my 7-day program, and they don't need to lose weight, so they can have some whole wheat bread and pasta that is made mostly with whole wheat flour and water and yeast. Maybe we'll have a little salt, but there is no oil or butter or anything, no other added fats. And they could eat avocados, and they can eat nuts and seeds and things like that. So what works and what doesn't, it depends a lot. And I know that we don't like to get the answer of it depends, because we like to put things neatly in, like in little shelves and boxes. But it depends whether you have a lot to lose, or whether you feel that if you give up something entirely, that you might get disappointed and give up everything. And so it's not worth to give up the program, because you can't have a slice of bread, let's say. At least at the beginning, I would rather you do that than give up and go back to eating a heavily focused diet on animal foods. So if bread is an addiction, like it is for me, if nuts are an addiction, like cashews, let's say, for example, Dr. Goldhammer talks about that. He has a really hard time with cashew. He could eat the whole bag or whole jar. So what he does is he puts those in little bags of an ounce, and he freezes them. And he has made a deal with himself that if he ever eats more than an ounce a day, those are going to the trash or somewhere else forever, and he never gets to eat one. So I have, well, I'll talk about that later, but let me continue now. So what works and what doesn't varies widely from person to person, but in general, here is the key issue. What works is eating whole foods. It is interesting to me, an eye-opening experience when I started coaching people and doing this program, how many people in their mind, in their head, they think that they're eating a whole food, plant-based, very healthy diet, when in fact they have very few foods that are whole. And so that is a roadblock. They feel frustrated because they're not losing weight or they're not making progress fighting a condition like diabetes or heart disease or whatever it may be. And in many cases, it's because there are a lot of processed foods. Yes, they are plant-based, but they're highly processed. So the fiber and the water are not intact, and what we want is intact fiber and water. The minute that you take out one or both of these elements, or when you break the fiber into millions of or thousands of little pieces, the caloric density increases exponentially. Okay, so the importance, I cannot underline this enough to say that we need to focus on whole foods. That's another thing that we do in the 7-day program. And of course, a lot of the videos that you will see in my YouTube channel for free that is cooking demos focus on whole foods. So for some of us, who I include myself, who are sensitive to sugar, my desire for sugar has decreased to almost zero. And so I'm happy about that because I was a sugar addict also at one point. But that doesn't mean that I'm not sensitive to sugar. So for some of us who are sensitive to sugar, restricting fruit to 1 or 2 a day is also important. You might just want to try it. Sometimes you have to do these little experiments on yourself. One thing that I do, because I like to, for example, to have an apple, a green apple or a red apple, whatever apple, I chop it up and I mix it with chopped celery and maybe some blueberries, and then I chop some cucumbers. So I mix the fruit with vegetables so that it makes the absorption of the sugar in the blood to go slower. There are no big spikes of sugar in the blood. So you might want to try that, okay? Adding the fruit to a salad, which is something that I almost always do. It's very uncommon that I won't add some kind of fruit to a regular salad. It just makes it so much more juicy and crunchy and delicious. Okay, so I have mentioned whole food. I have mentioned restricting fruit if you think that you are sensitive to sugar and you're having a hard time losing weight. I'm also going to mention that combining starch with fat is not a good idea, okay? Especially if you're trying to lose weight. So for example, an avocado with a baked potato or with mashed potato is not a good idea, okay? Or nuts with oatmeal, let's say, if you're trying to lose weight. You may want to put the avocado in a salad or the nuts also in a salad. First of all, if you're really having trouble losing weight, I wouldn't eat nuts or avocados in the first place. But just remember that starch and fat don't go well together if you're trying to lose weight, because it makes the absorption of fat easier, okay? So what we eat and what we don't eat will vary according to our goals. You know, how much weight you want to lose, how fast you want to lose it, where you are in your, journey, what your goals are for your health, because not everything is about weight loss. Of course, it is a big part of it, but improving your health is very important. part of improving your health is losing excessive weight. And it also, what we eat and what we don't eat is also linked to how fast we want to obtain results. One reason that I think the 7-day program that I run is successful is because we focus on just 1 week and getting everything right in 1 week. I'm not asking you to do something that seems really difficult or impossible, like, well, we're going to do a program for 3 weeks or for 2 months or 6 months. Just focus on 1 week, getting everything right, making it as simple as possible. So that is basically what I wanted to mention today, because I had said that we were going to talk about bread and pasta and what works and what doesn't. So if you have questions now, because I want to try to limit my talking so that I can answer questions. If you want to, number one, if you want to ask questions and unmute your microphone, you can do that. You can type. If you have taken my program and would like to say a word about how it has helped you, that would be good. I think that would help other people realize, what they could accomplish if they hear you. But I just open the floor to whatever you want to say. You don't have to agree with me. And if you ask me a question that I don't have the answer, I will find it. By the way, about that, yesterday somebody asked about peas, I think, in the maximum weight loss. Yes, even though it's not listed here, it's allowed. Just it's one of those. It's starchy. So remember that here you are trying to keep your plate to half the plate starch vegetables and half non-starchy. And so you want to be, if you're going to follow this to see how what kind of results you get, then what I would do is I would be 100% sure of what vegetables are considered starchy vegetables and what are not. I don't think either one of these books or The Healthiest Diet on the Planet have an exhaustive list of all the veggies that are starchy and non-starchy. So you can, if you have all three of these books, you can make a compilation, and then you can compare with some good sources on the internet, but make sure that you know what, because that is very important in this. Okay, so one of you says you mentioned cooking chickpeas for 35 minutes. So yes, I use the Instant Pot for everything, and it's a wonderful appliance. So what I meant, it's 35 minutes on high in the Instant Pot. I haven't cooked beans or chickpeas or anything like that in the regular stove now for years, so I don't know. I would, if God forbid my Instant Pot broke and I would have to cook on the stove, I would have to go and read and see the timings, because I don't know them. But basically, when I make hummus, I want the chickpeas to be very soft so that they are creamy and I can get a really good hummus. And under which setting do you cook? Normally 90% of the times in the Instant Pot, I'm using the manual button, and I just press manual, and I then press the up and down the minutes. I have memorized most of the things. Every now and then I have to check timings, but the Instant Pot comes with a book where you can find timings, and you can go to the website and find timings in the Instant Pot website. But yes, that's what I use. I asked about the peas. I appreciate you asking for me. Also, I ordered the healthiest diet on the planet, and it arrived today. Okay, great. It adds new things that, and it reminds you. I mean, I think that reading these books over and over is good, at least a couple of times a year, because we forget. And so reminding ourselves of these things is very important. I found that portion control of breads and pasta is critical for avoid. Yes, okay, good. I'm glad that you mentioned that. So this is an interesting topic because how could you ask an alcoholic to have portion control, okay? Or any other drug addiction? You can't say to somebody who has an addiction to alcohol to have one glass a week. You can't. It has to go out 100%. So I am not going to compare those addictions to bread or to food addiction, because I don't feel comfortable doing that after learning some things from Dr. Lyle. But they do share a lot of similarities. So really, if you have an addiction, let's say with nuts and seeds, I think the best thing is to completely eliminate them if you really cannot control that. Now, if you are like someone like Dr. Goldhammer, who has extreme discipline and you can control it, then okay, fine. But if even controlling it, you are not happy with the type of weight loss that you're having or not having, then I would, just for your own sake, I would eliminate them for 2 weeks and see what happens. Okay, so what do you think about taking vitamin supplements while you are in transition? I don't agree with that. And this is I know it's my personal opinion, and I need to say that for reasons so that I don't get in trouble. It's my personal opinion, but I have been listening and learning from these doctors now for 10 years. And so I believe that what Dr. McDougall says is right. Even in transition, you're not going to get depleted of calcium in 1 week, okay, or even in a month. These are things that if you were going to get depleted, it would take a longer time. So if you're going to eat a healthy, whole food, plant-based, starch-centered diet, and it's going to have a variety of vegetables and legumes and everything, you will be getting everything that you need. So that's my opinion. Remember that one of the ways that we lose calcium very fast is with dairy. Dairy actually, countries that consume a lot of dairy supposedly to get the calcium are the countries that have the most deficiencies and more fractures and things like that in their bones. Can you give us your hummus recipe? It's hard to find. Yeah. Well, it is in my YouTube channel. Let me make a note. And when I send the email out, I will include the link, unless you want to go through some. You don't have to go through a lot of videos. It's somewhere there in the beginning. Okay, so it's just very simple. It's like a can of chickpeas, which is a cup and a half. I say a can. If you buy in a can, make sure that it's salt free. Otherwise, I always make myself. Usually I put 3 cups of chickpeas in the blender, there's lemon juice, there's some water, there's also some of the juice of the actual chickpeas for the creaminess. and lemon. What else? There's a spice that I'm forgetting, but it's going to come to mind. What is it?
It's cumin.
Oh, cumin. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, it's cumin. All right. But I'll send you. I will include the link there. So peas are okay. Yes. Just remember that it's part of the starchy vegetables. Go ahead and turn off your microphone because I can hear my echo there. I think
Sorry,
it.
I just wanted to say to the people who haven't done your detox week. Can you hear me? Um, Before I did the January detox, I have been trying to do this since 2014, very badly, obviously, because I could never seem to lose weight. But since January, since doing Gustavo's week, and another week after that, I've lost 20 pounds. So it is a learning curve. And you helped me to get through that, to understand that I don't need to eat as much as I thought I did. And when you're trying to lose weight, you have to listen to your body's hunger mechanism. You just can't gobble up as much as you want. You have to really listen to your body. Another thing that I learned from you, Gustavo, is that salt for me is really it was hard to get off the salt that first week. So anybody who's thinking of doing Gustavo's 7-day reset, it really is worth it. It's an excellent way to get past the idea that you have to have all kinds of ingredients, and you need to follow these extravagant recipes. You don't have to do that. You can eat simply and feel totally satisfied and still lose weight. So I just thought that I'd add that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I call, well, myself as well. I used to be more. Now I still am, but I'm one of those recipe addicts, that keeps gathering recipes and recipes. And I see sometimes people getting, disappointed and giving up because they think that they have to do these elaborate recipes that call for strange ingredients that you can barely find, and they're expensive, and that you're supposed to make different recipes every day, and that's not the case. What we focus on is simple meal ideas. We always cook more than what we think we will eat, so that we will always have food in the refrigerator when we actually get hungry, and so that we don't go out and grab something that is not compliant. And so yeah, it's the easiness. Thank you for sharing your experience. I have seen your change, and it's amazing. So congratulations. One of you is asking me if cooking potatoes in the air fryer is okay. It is okay. When we do our 7-day program, we stay away from the air fryer. Why? Because I want the water and the fiber to be as intact as possible. So just for 1 week, we don't do air fryer and we don't roast things. We can saute them, we can steam them, we can boil, we can eat raw, but we stay away from the air fryer or from roasting at high temperatures. Again, it's just for 1 week only, but so that you can see the power of eating whole food, unprocessed foods. And then I roast things. I did last night actually. I got rid of my air fryer. Just wasn't using it often enough, so I usually just roast things. Okay, and someone is has put here Kathy Fisher, who I just adore. Kathy, it's not only a wonderful human being, but her recipes have the most amazing flavor. So her book, Straight Up Food, is one of my go-to books when I want to make something a little more fancy to take somewhere or to have guests over. And she has a roasted red bell pepper hummus that is delicious. Okay, so anybody else? Comments, questions? Okay. Well,
I'll say something.
yes, Julie, okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think one of the best things that I've learned, and maybe it would be good for other people, is the simplicity that you help us focus on by not having to worry so much about recipes or what a recipe might call for. So it's so much nicer to just use what you have and also simply create things. That just works out really well right now for me. I don't know if you've always cooked that way, Gustavo, or what?
No, I like to cook, so I have hundreds, if not thousands, of recipes. And at one point, at the beginning of my change of diet, I would make different recipes every day. But it was fun for me because I like to cook and because it was such a discovery phase in my life to discover all this new stuff. Like, how can I eat so much? How can it taste so good and I still lose weight? So it was that, but gradually my cooking has become simpler, and that's what I share with you in my YouTube channel here in the 7-day program. But I do like to make some more elaborate recipes every now and then. I also, before we leave, on my website as well, when you go to the website, there is a place where you can sign up or subscribe, I think it says, to my email list. So please do that. I don't send out, maybe a couple of times a year you will receive an email every week or something because I am announcing a new program or something that I think it's valuable. Otherwise, I won't clutter your email box because I email a couple of times a month. So you can sign up for that. Okay.
Gustavo, can I say something?
Yes,
I just
please.
wanted to make a pitch for your 7-day program. I've done it twice.
I'm not paying any of you. Okay, I want people.
No. This is strictly voluntary. But because we talk 3 times a day or have that opportunity, you never go for more than a few hours where you don't have a place to either get support or answer questions. And so when you're doing that over the course of a week, it's very reinforcing, it's very supportive. And I think it makes a big difference in really shoring up, what we're doing, bringing it all together. And so I just wanted to mention that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Let's see. Let me double check one thing here.
I'm going to just second what Gail had to say, and Lorraine as well. Your program is fabulous, the Detox. It's so simple, but to have that community of like-minded people who give you support, inspiration, and you're just there to remind us 3 times a day is just incredible. It's so helpful. And the other thing that people may not know is that once in a while you treat us to a concert a piano concert, which is a wonderful way to spend your evening. So thank you for that.
Yeah, sometimes we end our evening with with a few minutes of good music. And okay, so I was checking that tomorrow I'm going to talk about inflammation, which I think is one of the most important topics, and how we can fight inflammation and decrease it, because inflammation opens the doors to just about every condition and illness, and we don't want to have inflammation in our bodies. So tomorrow we're going to talk about that, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow night or afternoon. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Gustavo. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye everyone.